Well, since we're backwards today, I'm Erin.
I'm Meagan.
And this is the Utterly Unrelated Podcast. I hope you have your fancy thinking caps on because Meagan is going to take us down the multiverse road.
We're going to call this episode The Time Meagan Taught Herself Quantum Physics.
Yes.
So, bear with us. I gave myself a 1-week crash course 1 week ago, so we're going to see how much of this I retained and how much of it I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know what any of this is. If you are a physicist, I'm sorry. If you're not, I'm very well informed. 0% of this is bullshit other than the card that says my hot take.
I think it's fair to say that at any point, if we're using our opinions today, we're going to make sure and say, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're going to say, well, this is my hot take.
And then this is a fact. When it's a fact.
Everything is a fact other than my hot takes.
Ah. Everything's a fact. Everything's a fact. Don't you know that Megan's a fact?
I'm a fact!
Do you ever watch Auntie Donna?
No.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's on Netflix. It's this Australian trio of like sketch comedians. DJ and I love them, but they're rated R for sure. And they're so fucking good. It's called Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun. And it's so good. And there's this one sketch where they're like, everything's a drum. Everything is a drum. And he's like, I let you drum on my penis. You told me everything was a drum. And the one guy's like, everything is a drum, Brother Mark. And it's like this weird, it's funny. It's very funny.
That sounds fucking crazy.
It's almost, it's reminiscent of, I Think You Should Leave, which you have to watch.
No,
you have to watch all this stuff.
I've seen the entire first season of he pulls their hair up, not out, because if he pulls it out, he turns back into bones. And that was the day that the skeletons came to life.
Oh my gosh.
It's
the best. I was watching season 2 on Sunday and I was laughing until I cried, and then I cried until I coughed, and then I dry heaved until I almost threw up, and then DJ was like, I need to get away from you. I was like, but it's so funny. And if you've seen season 2, it's in episode 1 where they do this, it's like a prank video kind of a sketch where he's like, I'm going to dress up and pull pranks on people at the mall. So they put him in like an old guy's suit. And he's like, I'm going to go mess with people and take their trays. But then he's like, there's too much shit on me. It's too heavy. I don't want to do this anymore. So he's just standing there in like really bad old man makeup.
And just yelling, there's too much shit on me.
There's too much fucking shit on me. Oh man, yeah. And it was a lot. I laughed, and then DJ wanted nothing to do with me, and then we went and had family day, so it was interesting.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. It's so good. Go watch it on Netflix. Tim Robinson. If I ever get the chance to meet you at like a con or something, I might try to hug you. I don't know. I might be too scared. I might cry again. I love him. He's my favorite.
I admire people from far away.
Far away.
So far away they can't see me.
I'll probably do that.
Yeah, it's safer.
Unless we're live from the Comic-Con that he's at, in which case I'll see you in the green room. I'll make awkward conversation by the charcuterie.
I won't make conversation, but I will take full advantage of craft services. Yeah, absolutely. I know we're in a pandemic, so honestly that kind of means that since I'm fully vaxxed, I'll just eat more. Because everyone else is going to be too scared of the buffet to really,
oh my gosh,
roll up their sleeves.
Yeah, everyone's afraid of the buffet. Like it was news that it was disgusting.
Dude, I've been eating at the A-Crop buffet for what, the last 20 years?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I grew up on the Sizzler buffet, the Wendy's buffet.
Yeah.
The Izzy's buffet.
I was going to say Izzy's, yeah. Man, that pizza was weird. They put cinnamon in it? What the fuck?
Is that what the thing was?
I don't know. I'm assuming. If it's ever something that's kind of this savory dish is weird, it's always cinnamon. Everyone always says if it's something they're like, oh, this is pleasant. What is it? In baked goods, perhaps. Yeah. But anything with beef that I'm like, it has a weird thing going on. It's always cinnamon.
You know what? My grandma has this, she has a squamania recipe for bistec.
Bistec?
Bistec. Yeah. So Guamanian food is like Filipino food, but it's also like Spanish food, but it's also like Hawaiian food. It's
God,
just
that
like a
sounds so
hybrid. Oh,
good.
it's so good. And bistec is so fucking good. But what you do is you get all this really fatty meat and you cut it into little steaks. And then you put it in a pot with a bunch of brown sugar and soy sauce and like the funkiest garlic you can find, and then you squeeze it all together. Now, my grandma's a big fan of squeezing things with her bare hands because she's from the 30s, and so you squeeze it, and you squeeze it, and you squeeze it. Oh gosh!
I'm a baker.
See, I think I'm too scared of food to be comfortable enough to squeeze with my bare hands.
That's how you get everything in.
That's what she said. Yeah. So you squeeze it and then you cook it and then you eat it with rice that's been in a rice pot for like 3 days on the counter with no refrigeration.
Yeah, so it soaks up more flavor.
And that's Guamanian food.
Oh my god, that sounds so good.
But yeah.
So it's kind of like shoyu chicken then, but with like a little bit of garlic and a little more sugar.
Totally. So much sugar. It's
so
good. I miss my uncle's cooking. He made the best Guamanian food.
Good.
So good.
Are there any Guamanian restaurants?
There are two.
Anywhere? Really? Are
in
they
the Portland
good?
area. They are Filipino food masquerading as Guamanian food. Yeah, I said someday I was going to open up a food truck and like serve real Guamanian food. And my dad was like, what's the point? Nobody wants to eat that. That's why there's no Guamanian restaurants. And I was like, God damn it.
That sounds fucking good.
Oh, it's so good. I'll have to make you a feast and tell me what you think.
I will eat all of it.
Oh, Portuguese sausage and red rice. Like,
oh, you had me at Portuguese.
and then you get like the weird fatty sausage hiccup burps.
Yeah.
That are almost pukes.
For like the rest of the day. And it's, wet burps. Wet, stinky burps. Yeah. That sounds fucking awesome. I get that from most everything I cook.
See, now in the multiverse, do you think that like Portuguese sausage across the board gives everyone wet burps?
It's actually
I wonder that.
literally fucking impossible that there's one thing that is a constant throughout.
boy.
Because every single thing branches off. Like, okay,
I'm going to be asking a lot of dumb questions like that.
No, there's no dumb questions because here's the thing. Like, so with a lot of physics, okay, not like literal physics. Like, okay, yeah, up is up, down is down, like gravity exists, whatever. But once we get deeper into it, there's many classes of thought. Actually, this going into the very first card.
Yes! I segued and I didn't even know
You
it.
segued perfectly.
Yes!
This card is called Like School in the Fall, Many Classes.
Yes!
Yes.
I love it.
So there are many schools of thought and interpretation. So an interpretation, school of thought, class of any of this is kind of an attempt to answer the how/why that something works in quantum mechanics, because there's so many things that they're like, okay, well, I know that this works, but why does this work?
Okay.
There's so many equations that they can use to accurately predict things, but they don't know why the fuck it is.
They're like, okay, numbers and then stuff.
Right.
Close enough.
And the funny thing is, so like I always say, like, does that make sense? And it doesn't make sense though.
Okay.
It just fucking doesn't. So the Copenhagen interpretation is
Interpretation of what a multiverse is?
no. That the multiverse is the many worlds interpretation.
Okay.
Okay. There's a lot going on.
Sorry.
No worries. So
I like to edit out all the parts where I ask questions and derail you so that it sounds like you weren't interrupted by a dum-dum.
No, you're not dumb at all.
There was this one part where I heard you go in an episode and I was like, oh no. That was a dumb question.
No, I just do that as a response. Some people have resting bitch face. I have resting bitch sigh.
Oh no.
I from all those years of smoking, sometimes I just like I forget to breathe.
Me
and then
too.
I'm like
I do that shit too.
And it probably sounds like I'm sighing. But I'm actually just gasping for life.
Breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I know. No, so there are so many fucking not so many. There's a number of interpretations as to why this shit works. So, okay, even like getting into quantum mechanics in the first place. So, there were many predecessors. So, classic mechanics isn't just dealing with muscle cars.
That's the only kind I know.
Yeah, it's the only kind I know too. Or at least did until I taught myself all this science.
See, and you didn't even take an Udemy class or anything. You just like buckled down and old school researched.
Yeah, I read a textbook.
Wow. Holy shit, you had a textbook?
Online.
Oh.
And like, you know, podcasts and stuff too, of figuring out what's like, you know, consistent, what's just somebody's hot take, of finding out like cool insider shit, like Schrodinger, more like Schrozinger. If that's not one of, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I was like, if that's not one of my cards, I missed a fucking opportunity.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I just fucking raw dogged all this shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it would be great if I didn't store it in my temporary memory bank. If you ask me about any of this, like when this airs, I'll be like, yeah, I said what I said, I don't know.
That's how I feel when I read a book I wrote. I'm like, I wrote this?
Right?
What? I don't have any memory of writing this.
Oh yeah, like all of these cards, since I took a week off, I'm like, quantum, what? So yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a dum-dum reading cards that somebody else wrote in my handwriting. What can I say?
I'll let you start.
So the predecessors of quantum mechanics that we know of are classic mechanics, which is like, you know, Isaac Newton. It's the behavior of macroscopic bodies. So like things that we can see, things that we can quantify, things that we can sense without the use of sophisticated instruments. So like you can tell that gravity exists because if you drop something, it goes down.
Okay.
Something that's just sitting on the floor isn't going to start, you know, bouncing. Like if a ball is just sitting there, it's not going to start bouncing. You know, let's see, that air is a gas, that this microphone is a solid, polymers, liquids, you know, just stuff that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's a fucking thing, that's plastic, that's wood, you know. That's more classic mechanics. Something that you can figure out based on what it is, how it will behave.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
Okay. So, and then statistical mechanics is kind of the bridge between the microscopic and macroscopic world. So it deduces the properties of a system based on the behaviors of its parts. And so it's how we know that a rubber ball will bounce and a glass of water, if dropped, will shatter and the water will go everywhere. Okay. It's because you can kind of figure like, okay, well, this does this and that does that, so probably this is how that's going to happen.
Okay. That's a good explanation, actually.
Thank you.
It's very good. I'm liking Teacher Meagan. This is nice.
Yeah, I'm right at it. So in about 1900-ish, quantum mechanics started up, right? So it explains the various anomalies in classical mechanics. So one of the most proven and successful theories in science is quantum mechanics, sort of. So quantum physicists can use the equations to predict many things, and they know, like I said, that it works, but not necessarily why it works. Okay. And so that's kind of where we came up with different interpretations of everything. So it's like I said, the interpretation kind of fills in it attempts to fill in the why and the how. Okay. So the dads of the Copenhagen interpretation is one of the most widely used interpretations. If you were to go to college right now and take like a physics course, they would probably tell you about the Copenhagen interpretation. It's the one that's most widely taught. Nobody necessarily agrees that it's the correct one, but it is the most widely used. Okay. It got its name because it was devised in Copenhagen, Denmark. Oh, so right. Okay. By Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg. So Niels Bohr, is a Danish physicist. He's the one who proposed the Bohr model of atoms, in which the electron could only occupy certain orbits around the nucleus. Okay. We'll put a picture of it on the Insta when this episode comes out. So he employed quantum theory to surmise the orbits. Okay. I personally thought that the Bohr model was super fucking hard to understand. But once again, I failed chemistry twice.
Yeah, me too.
So
I failed biology. I failed science basic.
I fucking aced biology.
Brains no likey.
Biology for me was a lot easier because I could like cell biology, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could look at a cell and be like, oh, that's this and this is that. And I just like, since it's all kind of living things that have their own jobs, I just made it in my mind like a tiny little town.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
and I was like,
smart.
oh, that's the mailman, that's the mayor, that's the town busybody, like these are the, trees, and I just made it like that, and I could totally understand it then, but I can't do that with the fucking Bohr model.
That's amazing. You have a very interesting way to like adapt something that it seems like extremely complicated and make it easily, comprehensible for you. That's really cool.
My brains are silly and ruled apparently by some sort of foreign children. I'm just a weird remote control human.
No. I feel like you took what I said the wrong way. I meant you're a genius.
And I told you the truth that I'm not.
No, that's really smart. Yeah. Yeah.
I like biology, but this is not. This is not biology. This is difficult math stuff that I have a fucking very tenuous grasp.
I love it.
So Werner Heisenberg, other than Breaking Bad, which we will not discuss, he wasn't on it, except for he did get a shout out from Walter White. So there's that. He's a German physicist, and he discovered the uncertainty principle. I mean, he did a bunch of shit, but that's kind of like his one of his greatest hits. So position and momentum of an object cannot both be accurately and precisely known. So if you wanted to know the like momentum of something, the more you want to know, the more you learn about the momentum, the less you are going to be able to know about the position, and vice versa. So you can only learn more about one to the detriment of the other.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, keep that in mind because I'm gonna involve that in my hot take later on. Put these two note cards together.
I like it.
The Copenhagen interpretation interpreted. So until you observe it, all particles exist in a state of superposition. So everything until observed is possible.
Okay.
If I give you a box and it's sitting on a table, Christmas, right? It's sitting on a table. It's from nobody knows who. It's just there. Until you open the box, it could be fucking anything. See?
Okay.
That's the easiest way to kind of explain that. So, but also if you want to take it down to the itty bitty stuff, the properties of any given particle are unknowable until measured and observed.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does until we get into the Schrödinger area. So before measured, all particles are in many states at once. Okay. So it's both here and there.
Okay.
So here's where we get this card is called Take That Copenhagen Interpretation. Love Erwin Schrödinger. I know I'm saying Schrödinger a lot, but I'm so fucking proud of that.
It's a very good one.
It's very great. Also, fuck you, quantum superposition. Yeah. Fuck you, quantum superposition. Schrodinger's cat.
Okay.
Everyone's familiar. It's very pop culture. What's your interpretation of Schrodinger's cat? And let me just tear it apart after that.
I don't know what that is. You might have to...
I just gave you a very confused dog look.
If it's what I'm thinking it is.
It's the dead cat in a box,
Okay.
You know about that?
No.
Well, the cat is not a real cat. I'll start with that. It's not like he was just like, fuck cats.
Okay.
So...
I know that was a big letdown. I'm sorry.
No, I was kind of counting on you to explain it to me. Well, fuck. No, I'm just being a dick. I actually know.
Okay.
I wasn't genuinely counting on you. I would, though, because you're very smart.
Thank you. Just not at this stuff.
No, just in general. You're pretty smart. So, Schrodinger's cat was a thought experiment.
Okay.
And it was more him saying that the Copenhagen interpretation was fucking stupid.
Okay.
He's not the only person who thought that either.
Okay.
Like, and once again, this goes into they knew that it worked, but not why. And they were like, your why is fucking stupid, sir.
Okay.
So the long and the short of it is they put the cat in the box, unobservable. He's in there with, an unknown radioactive chemical that the half-life is unknown. When it degrades to a certain point, which it may or may not do because it's unknown, then there's a little vial of, I believe, cyanide gas, and this little hammer comes down, it breaks the vial, and the cat dies, right?
Okay.
But it's unknowable if the cat will die, if the cat will not die. And so until you look in on the cat, it is both alive and dead.
Okay. That makes sense.
I mean...
In this, if a tree falls in a forest...
It's very... It is very if a tree falls.
Yeah.
It is very that. So,
that makes sense to me.
Right. And so essentially this is his way of being like, yeah, that makes no sense and here's why.
Okay.
A lot of people took it too fucking seriously. Because the science community is very literal.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of very literal-minded people. And so that was kind of his fuck you to that. It gives the finger to quantum superposition.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, because when you put it like that, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, no shit. We don't know the unknown, and we can't see what's not seen, and yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Well, so, okay, like, and I'll take pictures of this as well. So this is kind of the difference between the Copenhagen. This is like the mathematical equations. Once again, I'll take pictures of this because it will make more sense if you look at it with your eyes as opposed to hearing it with my voice. So on this side, we have the Copenhagen interpretation.
Okay.
And can you venture to explain this to the public?
Okay. So, what I see here, I see a little trident, or maybe that sign from the Infinity Stone in Marvel.
Maybe.
Marvel.
It could be.
It also could be the thing that was on the vial of Forever Beautiful liquid that Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn drank in Death Becomes Her.
Yes.
And that is equal to 1/2 squared, which cat alive plus cat dead. The second one is 1, let's say, Infinity Potion, Meryl Streep squared equals sum of all probabilities equals 1, which could also be a weird looking dick, maybe Justin Bieber's dick.
Bieber's beaver.
Bieber's beaver. And then we have like blank space where I'm just going to say it's a fart cloud equals 1/2 squared is quantum state of cat alive plus quantum state of cat dead ? As soon as one probability becomes taco. I'm not sure what that word is. Sorry.
Oh, my handwriting's disgusting.
Sorry,
I'm
no.
leaving this to you. This is a demonstration of how little this makes sense.
As soon as one probability becomes true, the other disappears. Cat dead, 0%. Cat alive, 100%. Quantum system collapse. Aaron brain sad.
So I'll explain this in human terms. So
need Thai food?
Yes.
Now I'm hungry for Thai food. Why did that make me hungry for Thai food.
Order some out, bro.
Ooh.
I could do some.
that
I could do
sounds
some salad rolls,
good.
man. I'm telling
God,
you.
yeah.
That sounds pretty good. Give me some extra peanut sauce.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, peanut sauce is life. Anyway, so, more or less what this is describing is a wave function collapse. So when the probability of an event collapses to one fate, goes from like 50-50 to 0-50. When it goes from 50-50 to 100.
Okay.
The wave function collapses.
Okay.
And so that in the Copenhagen interpretation, instead of this far easier, why didn't I make you read that first? Which is the many worlds theory.
Okay.
In the Copenhagen interpretation, instead of it still being equally possible that the cat is alive in one universe and dead in the other, it just cuts off any possibility of any other universe. And surprisingly, you would think that simplifies it, but it actually makes it mathematically a lot harder.
Okay.
So going to the many worlds interpretation and how it's better in a lot of ways. Before I get into who made it and why, I'll just go into the math of it. So you see how it's just that itty-bitty little equation right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, instead of being the cat alive plus the cat dead, it's the cat is alive, you observe it alive, the cat is dead, you observe it dead, but it's plus in the middle. See right there versus this?
Which is, okay.
Yeah, so instead of it being solely dependent on both things being possible and then only one,
Yes.
this is dependent on you. There's one world where you observe it alive, one world where you observe it dead. It accounts for you being in on it.
Okay.
Is that part of quantum entanglement? I don't know. Didn't get that far. Sounds right. Probably isn't, though. So in this one, the verification wouldn't be possible because there's no overlap of the branching wave functions.
Okay.
So it's, once again, it's either in one world you observe it alive, in one world you observe it dead. But the even having the choice of doing that made it branch off. So I mean, even from the time you were fucking born, at least for me, my mom was going to name me Meagan Emily or Brittany Elizabeth. So from the very moment I was born, it branches off into two.
Okay.
One world where I'm Brittany Elizabeth, one world where I'm Meagan Emily. And then from that, it just branches off even further. There's one world where I was like a really good fucking student. And I went all the way. And like, I did go to U of O. And I am a psychologist. There's another world where I never, ever left my mom's house.
Okay.
There's another world where I stayed in alternative school and probably never got my GED. There's another world where I, got a doctorate. There's so many fucking different branches of every single decision.
So have you seen Loki, the show Loki?
I started to, and then Alex started yelling at me, and I think I baked some bread.
I'm just curious.
I've seen, the first episode. I like it.
It's very good. It's sort of the same idea, but they talk about
it's
how...
It's very fucking similar.
Okay,
yes.
So that actually helps me understand it quite a bit more because I'm gonna say spoiler alert. I'm gonna wait 5 seconds and then I'm gonna say the fucking spoiler. Okay, when Loki goes to the void and there's several versions of him, including old Loki who didn't die and stuff. I think that's what she's talking about. Okay, done.
Yeah, everything that is possible, all the things that I fucked off, I didn't fuck off in other lives.
So, okay, that was going to lead me to my next question, which is it things that occur to you that you never do, or is it everything that's ever been possible, there's a version of you that does it?
Yes.
Okay.
And everything that, also all of the split-offs of their lives as well. So,
okay,
if you were to number every universe between 1 until you're done counting, A, it would take you like infinity amount of fucking time to count everything, and by the time you got to the last number, or honestly even the median number, the weight of the ink used to pen just the number of that universe would be enough to create a black hole to suck everything in.
Wow. Damn. That's more ink than my brain can process at the moment.
Yes.
Like, that's more ink in the whole
It's an unfathomable number.
Whenever...
Even if we're, like, in the middle or a 10th way in, like, it's
too much.
I mean, just every fucking decision. Did you get a golden eagle that day, or did you get a fucking macchiato that day? Like, every single fucking decision. Do you know the band The Eels?
I do.
Okay. So, the dude they call E, his dad, so his real name is Mark Oliver Everett, E from the Eels. His dad actually came up with the many worlds interpretation.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's got smarty pants genes.
Sort of. So he was a Princeton grad student at the time.
His dad was.
His dad was, yeah.
Okay.
So this is 1957. So this is before he was born. I'm fairly sure. So he was going to Princeton to finish up his PhD, and apparently so he came up with it. It made a lot of sense to a lot of people, but it also got a lot of scrutiny. He actually ended up fucking Princeton off after he got his PhD, which, I mean, is that really fucking it off? Like, why keep the tube of toothpaste after you used all the toothpaste?
Totally.
But, no, he made a full fucking exit from the field, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, he full on fucked off. Because he was just so discouraged after all the scrutiny that he got over this, like, really fucking solid idea. It was too lofty for them in 1957, I feel.
Yeah.
And so, but it is actually the way simpler idea. Instead of wave collapse or anything like that, doing like two different equations, this is just like, yeah, both happened.
I like that.
Me too.
I like it.
So his followers are called Everettian.
Okay.
Like, those who follow him say that it's the best, simplest explanation of quantum mechanics, which, I mean, I kind of agree, actually. It introduces no further equations or assumptions other than the initial Schrodinger equation.
Which, for the record, in my box, is just Gwyneth Paltrow's head that has cat ears on.
You know what's super funny is that movie, we're going to go into this in media later, but that movie that she did, was it Sliding Doors?
Yeah.
That movie actually is a really good example of this theory in motion.
Oh.
Of this interpretation in motion, yeah.
Okay.
So just how, like, in one of them, she catches the train and catches her husband cheating. And then in the other one, she doesn't, and she's, none the wiser, I assume. I never saw the movie, but I always wanted to.
I never did either. But I know that she had...
That could be one of our movie clubs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One of her had brown hair, one had blonde.
Yeah, one of them had, like, short hair, I think.
Something like that.
So I'm assuming that the one with short hair was, like Stella getting her groove back after a breakup. Because I know after I face, like, some devastating blow, I always just want to change my physical appearance because it's easier.
Me too.
So maybe that was her breakup move? I'm
Maybe.
assuming?
Yeah, maybe.
It's easier than extensions.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the other cool thing about the many worlds theory is, like I had said before, it counts the observer in on the wave function.
I like that.
And it kind of helps it so wave function doesn't collapse.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So there's no quantum system collapse. Infinite worlds exist, all with different outcomes. All exist separate from one another.
Totally unaware of each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Completely and utterly. Due to decoherence. So, like, once the thing happens in our world, where you got me a golden eagle instead of a macchiato, you are unaware of the life where you got the macchiato.
Okay.
Because they completely become, they're no longer intertwined. Just like the dude who watches the cat die or watches the cat be alive, after that event, he saunters off to live his life and go get some hummus or something and hang out with his boyfriend.
Okay.
Versus like the life where he saw the cat die. The first one that I said was the cat was alive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where he goes and sees this cat dead. He maybe goes and gets like a Waldorf salad and takes it to his boyfriend and like a bottle of wine and is like, I just saw a fucking dead cat. You know?
Yes.
Either way, it's, you know.
So do you... Okay, I'll wait till you get into it, and I'm going to just...
No, what was that question? It looked like a good question.
It's going to be... Do you address the Mandala Effect at all?
I do.
Mandela, excuse me.
Mandela Effect, I do not, because that involves us hopping into a different world, a different timeline. So that's separate of this.
Okay.
This only acknowledges that different timelines exist, but also it has very fucking hard lines that we do not enter into the other timeline, that it is impossible for us to enter into the other timeline because it's parallel as opposed to being curly or curvy or in any way possible to cross over. You don't cross streams.
So it's operating under the assumption that time functions exactly the same in every dimension. Everything is parallel and linear, correct?
Yes, I believe that is an assumption.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of things that say, like, oh, the Mandela Effect is us, like, jumping timelines. And I think, okay, there are some situations in which I believe we're all talking about the same thing, but we're calling it different things. So is an alien the same thing as an angel, the same thing as, you know, an alien and angel to me? They could be the same thing, theoretically. They are ethereal. They are undocumented, essentially. I could call it an alien because I had a really scary experience and I was raised an atheist. You might call it an angel because it's something in your background that you were like, oh, angels come down sometimes and they talk to us. And yeah, it was probably an angel. But it's the same thing, but we're calling it different things because we have different experiences. So is a dimension, and this is a very big question, is a dimension different from a world or universe?
It is.
Different from, okay.
It's different from a timeline.
Okay.
Do you know, okay, so are you a fan of the show Community?
Yes.
Okay, so you know how in one of the episodes where they roll a die to find out who goes and gets the pizza?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Where it splits off into several different timelines and different things happen because Abed gets the pizza, because Troy gets the pizza, because Annie gets the pizza.
So like on Loki, it's what they call the quantum event or your nexus event. Sorry, excuse me. Your nexus event.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that happens that goes branch. Okay.
Yeah, that could absolutely be the thing that, I mean, but anything could be a fucking nexus event if we're going to put it in that term.
Totally.
Like literally just, I almost wore a different shirt today.
Yeah.
I almost wore a shirt and a hoodie.
Me too.
But the reason that I didn't was because yesterday I chose to get taquitos, and I mean I already had a little something on like this tie part that goes through the hoodie. I already had a little something on there, but I could like turn it over or like, you know, lick my finger and get it off of there. But like I full on got some guacamole on there and I wiped it off, but I didn't do a good job. And so had I have not gotten taquitos, I pretty likely would have worn that hoodie and shirt combo.
Okay.
So it's small things like that.
I just wanted to sort of like differentiate. So what I call a world or what I call a different dimension is not the same thing as what you're referring to as the multi-worlds.
You're correct.
Okay. Now we're good. Because that totally negates the whole Mandela effect that I was learning about on TikTok.
But actually, I do have some interesting things to say about what it's been theorized that could have been. And these are just fun theories that...
Can I talk about my favorite for like 12 seconds?
Is it the CERN one?
No.
Oh, in that case, yes.
Okay, so this is the theory that there are... Okay, I prefer this to the Mandela effect. There are time travelers. They do exist. They have gone back in time to try to like kill Hitler as a baby, right? Kill baby Hitler. But before, okay, the theory says that before Hitler, there was somebody even worse. So they went back, they killed that guy, then baby Hitler came in and took his place, and everything changed just a little bit on the
The
timeline.
Hitler-Himmler thing?
Yes. And so I like the theory, and this is my opinion. I like the theory that says that there are time travelers that are inadvertently altering our perception and little things that are happening so much more than the idea that we're jumping timelines and dimensions. Because for me, it's very comforting, because the way that I think of time, it's not linear. It's not, oh, I mean...
Even Einstein had proposed that it wasn't linear and that you could, I mean, I don't have a pencil right here, but you could fold time in on itself and hop through.
Exactly. And
that's why we have, you know, like fake or real pictures of, you know, people with an iPhone at a Mike Tyson fight. Or, you know.
Totally. My favorite is like that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. So he has cloaking. He can jump from timeline to timeline to dimension, and he's a cryptid. I feel like he's just a triple threat. I know people are going to come for me. But it's my opinion, and I can keep it, and it's fine. But it's actually quite helpful understanding the difference between all of these things. So long story short, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And also, I could be completely wrong about all of this. So if anybody actually has a background in any of this, please do correct where I'm wrong, and I will do a redaction episode where I go through and I'm like, yeah, I was wrong about that.
But
Sorry.
I'm just starting to get this, so like...
Yeah, no, I taught myself quantum mechanics in like 4 days. So, I mean, there's going to be fucking holes, man. Yeah. I might have done a good job, or I might have fucking botched it. And frankly, I don't know. But yeah, so actually, Hugh Everett III is the name of the guy who came up with this. Okay. And
Everettians, right?
Everettians follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I mean, I suppose I kind of count myself among them. So his son, Mark Oliver Everett, has spoken candidly at length on many platforms about his dad, how his memories of his dad. He's had kind of Mark Oliver Everett has kind of had a really sad life, and he's watched, you know, his dad die in 1982 at the age of 51, and even his sister had committed suicide, and so it was his older sister, and so he said that it's kind of surreal, and I understand this. It's surreal to get to the age that your loved one was when they passed and surpass that, and he's older now than his dad was when his dad had passed away. And so he had talked candidly about that and about how he knows that and takes comfort in the idea that on some different world, they are all alive.
Oh, that's sweet.
I thought so too. I really liked that. And so, yeah, I honestly, it did kind of make me like, it misted me up a little.
Yeah.
Because
totally.
there is likely one world where all of the people that we know and love who are dead are not dead.
Wow.
And I'm not talking like heaven. I'm talking like a literal physical, like an actual.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, I don't know. I thought that was kind of nice, and even that being true, that would change who I am fundamentally.
Yeah, that's true.
And because it really, a lot of this kind of made me think about how our experiences shape us as people. Because if I had had a very seamless life with no difficulty whatsoever, I probably wouldn't have cultivated a personality. And, you know, and then in other timelines where I had had a far worse life, I wouldn't have had as many opportunities as I have had now. So it's just a fun little thing to think about. But yeah, my hot take on all of this, going back to the Copenhagen interpretation, is so observing only gives the location.
Okay.
Where it is the slice of the time is, where the slice of the thing is, whatever it is that we're observing.
Okay.
But it doesn't give the whole picture, just a slice of it. Like in where you can figure out where it is but not how fast it's going. So have you ever seen like brain slides?
Yes, brain slices, yeah.
Yeah, so you're taking a slice out of time and defining the entire thing based on one slice.
Okay.
That's my hot take. That
That's interesting.
It's wiggly. And so by observing it, you are kind of capturing it where it was then.
That is a good hot take. To put it dumbly.
And somebody who knows everything about this might be like, oh yeah, that's obviously this one thing. That's not just you having a hot take. That's the
You know what? Don't steal Meagan's moment.
Interpretation. No, tell me. If it is something, that's dope. Parallel thinking absolutely exists, you know?
But if it's a thing and you came to it on your own without having a background in quantum physics, be proud of that. That's very cool.
I'm pretty fucking sure it's probably already a thing because it made sense in my brain. So I'm just I'm gonna say it's probably already a thing.
I remember the time that I thought that I 100% invented garlic bread.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
I was not correct, but for a minute I was real confident.
Even on the whole idea of parallel thinking, I had another hot take. I have many hot takes. I had another hot take when we were first coming up with this podcast, or I don't even know if we had come up with it yet. And so you know that where the watermelon grow? Yeah. So I had this idea that I thought was very well-founded. The reason that the dude dares not go back home after going down by the bay is because his mom will ask him all sorts of weird fucking questions, like if you ever seen a whale with a polka dot tail down by the bay, and it makes him sad because she's suffering the effects of dementia after she tried to quit drinking cold turkey for him, and he feels so much responsibility for the state that her brains are in that he doesn't even go down by the bay, which by the way was one of his favorite things, just because it's where they used to go also.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this. And
it's so heart-wrenching.
I know, but guess what? A Redditor had that idea, not the quitting drinking part, but most of the idea that I already had 6 fucking years ago.
Oh, well, fuck them. Yours
and it's
has
in
the
a subreddit that I'm not subscribed to.
Oh.
So it's parallel thinking is a fucking thing. So yeah, like I said, if the thing that I said that's my hot take makes sense and it's actually Adam's theory of shoes or whatever the fuck, by all means, let me know. I am very interested. Let me read you my part 2 note card.
Yes.
So we have many worlds in pop culture.
Nice.
Yes.
My forte.
Yes. Saint Elsewhere.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. The Tommy Westphal universe hypothesis.
I'm excited to learn about that one.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
Not to be confused with the guy who did The Room.
Yes, Tommy Wiseau.
Yes, but you will have a better time if you imagine that it is that guy.
Yes.
So imagine that dude's face and body when I'm talking about Tommy Westphal, and I guarantee it's going to be great.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, because Tommy Westphal is just a regular brown-haired kid of medium age, medium everything. If you just think of your medium brown-haired child, I don't know, he's 12. Whether you hate Chris or love Raymond, you may be in the Tommy Westphal universe.
I love it.
It's an incomplete list, but it's an entirely full index card.
Wow. That is very full.
Oh, it's a whole fucking thing. And then here's the 3 bonus cards that I made for Aaron. And these better not stress you out because they are amazing. They're very easy to read.
I like things that are easy to read.
Yes, and Aaron has no previous knowledge of these. So
I do not.
Bonus. Are we in a simulation?
Probably.
Thanks, Saint Elsewhere. I hate it.
I do.
And public decoherence.
What does decoherence mean?
Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows?
Oh, I can't wait to
touched on it a little before. Will this elaborate on it or shut it down? Who fucking knows? Maybe both.
I hope so.
I mean, I guess it depends on which interpretation you prefer. Because if we're going with Copenhagen interpretation, then it's both until observed.
Fuck
Many
that guy.
worlds universe. Many worlds interpretation. Maybe I elaborated greatly. Maybe I didn't. There's a world I did both. So
I take that one. I'll take it.
good. I hope so.
It's my favorite.
So I'll actually a lot of them are somewhat related.
Okay.
So many worlds in pop culture. So I should have brought this up initially when I was trying to explain it because it does explain it well.
Ooh.
So you remember pretty much all of Rick and Morty.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Do you remember the specific episode where there's the dude who looks like a meatball
Yep.
and he's trying to get everybody back in the same world?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that explains it very fucking perfectly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Where every time that, like, one person says it,
Yeah.
it splits off. That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's real fucking on the nose.
Yes.
Did you ever see, it's a TV show, I want to say Amazon? The Man in the High Castle? Where
Yes.
The Nazis one? Okay, that's kind of an example of what one of the many worlds would be like.
Yes.
The MCU in general.
Boom. I'm super getting into it. Again, villain thing.
Right? As Sliders.
Sliders. Interesting. Jerry O'Connell, right?
Yeah, you know why Jerry O'Connell goes to TGI Fridays?
Why?
The slide.
I walked into that one.
Yeah, he walked into TGI Fridays. And he said, I'll have some sliders.
Touche. Good. That's good.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood actually explores what would happen in a multiverse where,
I didn't see it coming. I really liked it, and then I spoiled it for Dave, thinking he'd already seen the movie, and he was like,
I liked it too, actually.
it was so good.
Yeah.
I like Brad Pitt in it. You know what?
Yeah, me too. And Leo, actually.
Yeah.
I like
I like
both.
Leo in that too.
Sliding Doors,
Yeah.
we had talked about with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Totally.
Lost.
Oh,
So
I never
when they go
watched it,
off-
but I heard about the big ending that they
It was
were all
fucking
dead.
garbage. No, that was a garbage ending.
Okay. Or they're all in someone's head or
I
something.
don't even know. If
I
wanna
never
talk
appreciate.
about that.
Yeah, I don't ever. As a writer, I don't appreciate the laziness that encompasses.
And part of it was like the writer's strike halfway in because it seemed as though they
right.
were going for something, and then instead of just doing the decent thing and like holding the fuck off for a minute, like The Office did,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just doing the right thing, they were like, nah, we're just gonna thumb these fucking plots in.
Ooh,
And then when the writers came back, they were like, oh fuck, like we were actually going somewhere and now we don't know.
It's like when you go on vacation, you come back and you're like, oh, who was sitting at my desk? Because I now have I have worms
And ants?
and ants and a UTI. Like
Somehow.
what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
Red Dwarf. I don't know if you're familiar with. If you're not, you should be.
I am.
Oh, I love Red Dwarf.
I sigh like that because Dave used to have a band called Dwayne Dibley and the Harry Areolas. But also my ex-husband used to watch Red Dwarf and like try to get me to watch it, make me understand it. And I was like, stupid science. Hand me that Us Weekly.
Even Fringe.
Fringe, yeah.
Yes, very
Yeah.
multiverse. The fucking Tomorrow People. Do you remember that show?
Oh my God, yeah.
From childhood?
Yes.
Yes.
That was, yeah.
So that's fucking the many worlds in pop culture. There's a bajillion more, but those were just the ones that I thought of just off my head.
That's
Okay.
a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out, you guys. This is actually possibly either going to trip you out or you're going to be like, yeah, it's common knowledge, dick. Either way, St. Elsewhere. You can find it on
Hulu currently.
Yes. Do you like Denzel?
Do you like Howie Mandel?
Because if you don't, you're no friends of mine.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my God, the list of fucking people. Okay, so this list and all of the lists, actually, all of the 2 lists that I'm going to list from here on in are incomplete lists. And they're very, like, they both lists fill up note cards using, like, the entire fucking note card.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the title of that note card?
This one is St. Elsewhere.
Okay.
Part 1.
Hmm.
So, this is just a list of the motherfuckers in this. So, Denzel is Dr. Philip Chandler. Howie Mandel is Dr. Wayne Fiscus, known as Fiscus. I watched some of the episodes. Candace Cameron is Meagan White, allegedly responsible for the 80s Megan boom. Ed Begley Jr. is Dr. Victor Eldridge. Mark Harmon is Dr. Robert Caldwell. Alfre Woodward is Dr. Roxanne Turner. And if you don't think that you know her, you do. You do.
100% IMDb it, you do.
Did you ever watch Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman? Then you know her.
Yes.
Yes. She's been in fucking everything. And guess what? She's amazing.
She's so good.
In all of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's the fucking great. I love that
Every
woman.
bit of it.
She's so fucking good. Okay, so here's some of the guest stars. So this was very, you know how like Law and Order, every episode has a dope ass guest star who you may or may not know.
Yes.
But it's always rad when they have, you know, like Martin Short or, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind
Mark
of
Paul Gosselaar. Do you remember the episode where he was found with semen coming out of him in an alleyway? And they were like, "You've been raped." And he was like, "I actually make adult movies with my wife and sometimes other dudes." And yeah.
anything Mark Paul Gosselaar does, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he's done some problematic things,
Yeah,
but
Zach Morris, but still.
Oh, no, as a human, as a person, as a human man. I know. But you know what? The fact that he's lost touch with the working class doesn't entirely surprise me, so I'll give him a small pass.
Yeah, he is Zach Morris.
He is Zach Morris, but...
Zach Morris is problematic, though.
Yeah. Or my favorite is when you can go back and you can be like, what? Jack Black was on Law & Order? Yeah, he was.
Mac from Always Sunny, Rob McElhenney.
Oh, I love it.
Was on Law & Order when he was like a teen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it.
So fucking many people. Actually, the district attorney, ATA Novak, was in like one of the first fucking episodes as an aggressor, as somebody who was... I don't think she murdered, but she definitely diddled unwantedly.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, it was like a bachelorette party, and they brought in a male dancer.
That's right.
And he was victimized, and that was what, like in the 80s or so, and so everyone was like, haha, man can't be victimized.
Yeah. She was like, skadoosh. Okay.
Right. And she's like, I'm a woman, I can't victimize man. Well, no, you can. You can.
Yeah, that's right.
And then she came back to be the ADA, so that just shows you how the fucking legal system is corrupt.
Very. We could do a Law and Order deep dive.
Oh, fuck, we should. Anyway, so here is some awesome ass guest stars. Going back to Mac's mom was one of the guest stars. All of this connects.
Really?
I'm not even fucking with you. All of this, like even these two lists connect.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Ray Liotta, Betty White, Tim Robbins, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, Michael Madsen, Pauly fucking Shore, Rhea Perlman as Carla from Cheers and the Cheers crew. I ran out of room, so I just had to write and the Cheers crew because there was too fucking many. Here is the... Oh, Kathy Bates. I fucking love her. Here's the best part. Brenda Strong. Do you know who she is?
No.
Okay, so she was in... check out her IMDb. She was in a ton of shit. Most recently and best known for Desperate Housewives.
Oh, yeah.
She went to school with my mom.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, graduated same class, high school, everything, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so here, keep that in your mind.
Okay. Locked away.
So, going into it, here's the Tommy of St. Elsewhere, and here's the Tommy Westfall universe hypothesis.
Okay. So,
before getting into this, should we discuss the ending of St. Elsewhere and why it was garbage?
Yes.
It was... I'm going to let Aaron take the reins. I'm just going to say right now, it was garbage.
Yes, we know that key. So, Megan had asked me to watch the final episode of St. Elsewhere, and I was like, sure, I got nothing else going on. And I watched it, and it was hard. It didn't hold my attention really great, but I sat there the whole time, and I watched it. And at the very ending, they do a pullback as Howie Mandel is walking out of the hospital doors. They pull back, and they show that the hospital is actually in a snow globe, and there's a boy there, 12-ish, right?
Nondescript,
brown-haired boy. And he's sitting there and he's staring at the snow globe, and he's sitting there with his grandfather, and his dad comes in and he's like, "Hey, how was Tommy's day?" And his grandfather goes, "Oh, same as every other day. He sat and stared at that toy." And his father says, "You know, this autism, I just don't understand it." And I went, what? Fucking excuse me? And
his character had been on previous episodes, yes. I don't know, like maybe thrice, but yes. Only in passing.
And he didn't really talk much and stuff. And so I got real upset. And I had to really stop and think. So as the parent of an autistic child.
Who is nonverbal.
My first instinct was to get real fucking angry. And then I sat back and I really thought about it. And I thought about this for days and days and days. And there's a lot of apologizing that I could really understand that, you know, it was the 80s, it was a different time. But the thing that really got me, and the reason that I sort of got less angry, is because I have decided to go down a different path as the parent of an autistic child. I have decided not to do the behavior modification therapy that they recommend everyone do. As soon as they diagnose your child as being autistic, they're like, "Oh,
so fucked up."
Oh yeah, they're like, "Okay,
it's
well,
gay conversion therapy, essentially."
Totally, they're like, "Okay, let's get him into ABA," which is, you know, it's therapy designed by the same guy who invented gay conversion therapy to train autistic children to behave as if they are not autistic. It is abhorrent. It is so many things that are bad, but the medical community doesn't tell you anything else because that is the standard. And I decided I'm not fucking doing that to my child. I'm not going to teach him to pretend that he's quote unquote normal. So what I did is I sought out different types of sensory therapy and training for myself, from autistic adults on how to be the best parent to my child that I can be, because he is fucking perfect the way he is.
Oh, yes, he is.
He's
the best.
Perfect. I found this program out of Ireland, out of Cork, actually, and it's awesome, AUSOME, and it's autistic training for adults, service providers, teachers, anyone who's interested in learning what autism is, truly what it is from an autistic adult, from a series of autistic adults. It is the best resource that you can have, and it's something that I advocate for. Absolutely, we don't know as neurotypicals what it is like to have autism. And so when I look at who wrote this show, it very much harkens back to that feeling when Wolfie first got diagnosed. Because to me, I looked at him and I could have thought the same thing. He's staring at a toy. What's he thinking? Is he pretending it's a whole world? I don't have a fucking clue. When he turned 2, he went away. My son disappeared. And he stopped talking and he was gone. And yeah, in the 80s, if that had happened, I'm sure they probably thought he's in his own world. He's thinking thoughts. And now, thank God, we have people who are neurodivergent that can tell us, hey, I'm not sitting there thinking about every bad pun I've ever heard and making it an imaginary world. I'm taking in the sensory information. I'm listening to everything around me. Children who are autistic process memories in a different way from neurotypical people. They process it by experiencing the world without having to look at things, and just the way that they do things is different. And so yeah, as a parent who maybe had an autistic child, I could see writing this ending and being like, yep, because to me this is what it looks like, and I don't know. But I am so grateful that we live in a time where we have other avenues that we can explore to be able to help our neurodivergent children succeed. I'm going to cry. And so you know what? I forgive St. Elsewhere because they didn't know better. And it wasn't intentionally hurtful, but it is so incredibly hurtful today for people to watch that. And if they didn't know what I know, they didn't have the experience with, you know, rejecting ABA and doing all of these different things to advocate for their child, they might be like, oh, totally, I get it. That kid's just sitting there thinking up stories, you know? And so it's problematic. It was then too, but I get it on both sides. So I reject the hate and I forgive St. Elsewhere. And I would encourage anyone, if you have questions about autism, I have really great resources for autistic adults to explain to you what it's like to be them. And they're the people that we need to listen to. So that's my soapbox. That's my thing. I don't think I'd ever watch it again, but I forgive them. So, on that note, now tell us what the Tommy Westphall universe is, because I'm curious.
I feel like, in my opinion, the Tommy Westphall universe kind of takes a really problematic, shitty thing and makes it dope as fuck. Because so in the Tommy Westphall universe, if you do, let's say, subscribe to that all of St. Elsewhere was thought up by Tommy Westphall, then all of the crossover TV shows and spin-offs took place in his mind too.
Okay.
Of which there are fucking many.
Now that I had no idea about.
Oh my lord. So one of the creators said someone did the math once, and something like 90% of all TV took place in Tommy Westphall's mind.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
For this period of time?
There was an unprecedented amount of crossovers.
Wow.
And then some of the, like Detective Munch was on there.
No way.
And so that would mean that Law and Order and all of Law and Order's spin-offs are also part of the Tommy Westphall universe.
Oh.
And all of the subsequent guest stars. Yep.
Okay, you know how everyone, when they start out acting, if you're in England or if you're in the UK, you end up on an episode of Doctor Who. And in the States, it's Law and Order. So St. Elsewhere was like that for the 80s,
oh,
right?
Absolutely.
And so that's where this whole thing kind of stems from.
And there was crossovers and shit. So many fucking crossovers. And so this leads to the question, I mean, are we in it? So check this out. So, okay, not only was my mom's classmate on like 3 fucking episodes, let me just go to this long ass list here. And this is, so there was over 419 and counting shows.
419.
Yeah. I just picked some of the like.
Damn.
Yeah. So, 90210, 24, The Addams Family, Alf, American Horror Story, Season 1, Angel, Andy Griffith Show, Batman, Battlestar, Better Call Saul, Bewitched, Bob Newhart, Bones, Boston Legal, with James Spader, Breaking Bad, Buffy, Cheers, Clueless, Cold Case, Criminal Minds, The Cosby Show, Crossing Jordan, Dexter,
Crossing Jordan.
Dead Like Me. Yeah, it was a good show.
It was so good.
Yeah, I hope that you liked that one. I like that one too.
Me too.
Different Strokes, Dragnet, Ellen, Eli Stone, Frasier, Happy Days, Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Law and Order, like all of them and their spin-offs, MASH, Millennium. That was a good show.
Wow.
Monk, The Office, Nip Tuck, X-Files, Seinfeld.
Damn.
Yeah, and also Petticoat Junction, which goes into the Hoyt Hotel episode that I'm going to do next. So we're probably living in the Tommy Westphall universe.
Probably. We were all influenced by those things.
Not just that, but like if my mom's classmate was in there.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm my mom's kid.
Does this mean I can go start murdering and rioting because my actions have no consequences?
It's possible.
Fuck
I don't know, dude. Read your cards. I
might see you next week. I might be in prison.
Any of them are possible. Okay, so
public decoherence. Flippity flop, for the first time ever I'm seeing this. Totally a thing, but we're running out of time. What does that mean? Oh no, we're running out of time. Oh no. Thanks, St. Elsewhere, I hate it. Oh no, that's blank.
No, that's just a statement.
Oh yes, thanks, St. Elsewhere, but I hate it. Bonus, are we in a simulation? Probably. It just says probably.
All of those are true.
All of those are true.
All of those are true.
Oh my gosh.
See, I told you it was low pressure.
It's low pressure, but my mind hurts and my brains are garbage. And if we're in a simulation, you know what?
It's highly probable that we might be, because just using like the scientific method, there is no way to prove that we are not.
That's true.
There is only ways to prove that we are. So if you, and this actually kind of goes into conspiracy theories and shit like that too, why they're so alluring, is because there is no way to prove that we are not in a simulation. because that could just be the simulation trying to cover up its tracks. The only way to decently prove that we are would be some, like, intentional, hilarious glitch, like, a 8-foot-tall frog on water skis with a banner behind him saying, "We're in a simulation, y'all."
Like in the Hank Green book, where she ends up, Miranda
Yeah!
ends up in the simulation and she doesn't know it until the giant chapstick shows up.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to ask my Predator question now.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in a simulation and someone wrote Predator, combine that with
It could be Tommy Westphal who wrote it.
manifesting your intentions. Is a predator going to come for me?
It's unlikely in this timeline that it would happen.
Can I still learn to use a katana in case?
You bet.
Fuck yeah. All right.
There's always time for that.
Sweet. Okay,
Yeah,
so if you
absolutely.
saw on the news that I took a shit in the middle of the street, that I tried to kidnap Tom Hardy,
Then this is our final episode.
then this is our final episode.
I'm sorry, I'm a little complicit.
She'll find someone to replace me. It'll be fine.
Probably not. I don't know how to do any of this. I just lightly research things and show up. I bring coffee sometimes.
I like it. No, this I'm gonna sit on this for a while.
Yeah.
I hope you guys do too. She put a lot of work into it. Katana practice at my house.
Yeah, sure. I'll bring
Like,
snacks.
Let's do it. Fuck yeah.
We got to chop up those vegetables to make ratatouille somehow.
Oh my god, ratatouille. Hell yeah. See, she's going to teach me how to cook. All is not lost. So until next time, join our Patreon. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe, like us, rate us. Even if you don't like us, rate us whatever you think is appropriate. If we're problematic, let us know. If you want amazing autistic adult resources, you reach out to me.
If you want cooking tips, reach out to me.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, totally.
And if you want to watch on a video me trying to teach Erin how to cook,
hey, that could be
we'll
bonus
put
content.
that on Patreon.
Yes. Watch her try to explain to me searing because I don't understand it. And then, like, her head might explode. It'll be good stuff.
I'm very patient. I'm patient, if anything.
That's true. She's very good-natured. So until next time,
Da, da, da,
Mama.
da, 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 da.